What happened? Hello, welcome to CJ's live. When you All right, let's do that over again. Welcome to CJ's kitchen. It's late night baking that we're doing today. Oh, he's telling me that I'm on live. Okay. So tonight I am baking Welch's grape juice fruitcake. And I am going to do it from scratch. It's gonna be a little noisy, but I wanted to show you, and I'm using Welch's grape juice. We can also use that. I hope my mixer does not get too noisy, but I want to say welcome. And this cake is for someone, but they don't do alcohol. They don't do rum. They don't do wine. So I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to do it with the Welch's grape juice, which I use this to boil the fruits ahead of time. My fruit is here and it's in my processor. I'm not blending it. I'm gonna be chopping it mostly. Chop and try not to get it too puree out and stuff like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna add one thing I already forgot, and that is my what they call it, my scale. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put the sugar. Normally when I'm doing a very large batch, I don't mix my stuff together. So I'm gonna do sugar, and I'm not gonna measure. I am sorry. Sometimes I really don't measure, which I know. And this is like a 2 pounds of sugar. So I'm gonna go in with 1.5 pounds of sugar. I'm trying to kind of weigh as much as I can. I'm actually doing a large cake, and I don't want it too sweet because the juice is already sweet. The fruit is sweet. I'm using molasses, which is sweet. I will be using some marmalade, which is sweet as well. So a lot of the stuff that I'm going to use will be sweet. So I'm going to go in with some butter. And this I would rather to weigh. So like I said, I got to get my scale to weigh this. All right, so let's see. This butter is actually 5 pounds of butter. This is a 5 pound butter, but I'm gonna weigh it. Think I'm gonna weigh it. I'm sorry, I have to turn my back to the thing to get my scale. I should have had it ahead of time, but I did not remember, and I apologize for that. Okay, so I got my scale here, and I am going to weigh the butter because I need at least 1.5 pounds of butter. So I am going to weigh that, and I'm gonna unplug my mixer first. Oh Lord, it's a little. All right, I tried. So that's my scale. So I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna weigh my butter. Let's see how heavy this is. It's 0.3, 0.1. So let's get some butter here. I know I probably should have gone ahead of time and do some of these stuff, but I wanted to do it from scratch. And this is room temperature butter. Okay? That's room temperature butter. I'm trying to do like 1.5 pounds. So let's see. 1.4. And being that the pan already weighs a little. Okay, so that's 1.5. So that's 1.5 pounds of butter. So it's kind of gonna be a long video and a long night because everything is being done from scratch. All right. This is gonna be done from scratch. So this is gonna take a little time. I hope you are hearing me. If you are here, I will tell you step by step as I go, as much as I can, and do hope that you're hearing. So I'll just press that over there. Now, I am done with my scale. I gotta get my scale out the way. And this is fruitcake with, it's fruitcake with Welch's grape juice. Okay, so now I'm gonna chop that, but I wanted to just kind of get stuff going. So this is mixed up. And if you've seen my video before, I don't normally mix my egg in my cake. But for this one, I am going to mix my eggs in. I am going to mix my egg into this one. So I'm going to use about 106 eggs. That's I'm going to use 18 eggs, okay? So here I'm adding 2 at a time. While I'm adding my egg, I'm also going to add some lime juice, because that helps to get your cake firm. I like doing that in mixing my lime juice with my eggs, and I normally do it separate. I'm going to use 1 lime because it's very juicy, so I'll use 1 lime. It's 2 more eggs and there's some lime juice in it. Okay, so there's 2 more eggs and I'm putting the other half of the lemon juice in it. And for the lemon, you know, it's like This would probably be like 2 tablespoons of juice because this lime is very, it's not lemon, it's lime. It's very juicy. My oven is already on 325. My oven is already on 325. All right, I'm gonna go in with a couple more eggs. And this, like I said, this is grape juice, not the regular rum and wine, right? Got a couple more eggs. These are large eggs, so I'm just gonna use 1,003, right? So that would be 15 eggs. Because these are large. If they were small eggs, you could use less or more. Try and leave this on here. This is a little too big for this, but just leave that there for a little bit while I just Alright, so I want to sift the flour. I'm going to sift the flour. Here I have 6 cups of flour. Oh, I can find my sift. Oh. Stuff away, you can't find them, but I see it. I see it. Here it is. Hi. Welcome to my live. Please like, share, and subscribe. Welcome to CJ's Kitchen. I don't know if you were able to hear me. I am making a fruit cake with Welch's grape juice. I say here it is. I'm going to do 6 pounds of flour, 6 cups. Oh. I know it might be a little noisy, but just bear with me a little bit. Let me give that a break a little bit. Sorry for the noise. But this is my dry flour. This is my flour. And in the flour, I'm going to do three teaspoons of baking powder. Teaspoon. Oh, this is definitely not baking powder. This is salt, okay? You know, I think I'm going to do 2 tablespoons of baking powder. And this is the baking powder I use. It's called Davis. And make sure if you're buying this baking powder, you look closely because they have a baking soda in a pan just like this one. So that's baking powder. I'm going to go in with a teaspoon of salt. And as I do this, I kind of figure out if it's too much or too little. You know what I mean? So then I need a teaspoon and just a little more. All right, so that's a teaspoon of salt. This is cinnamon. I'm sorry that I'm not giving real measurement because this is how I bake. I kind of wing stuff and it comes out like really good. So that's a tablespoon of cinnamon. I just go in with a little more, like a table and a half teaspoon, right? Table and a half, because I don't want anything to overpower the cake. Like, you don't want to be eating the cake and you can tell the difference, the cinnamon, the nutmeg. So I don't go in with too much. So this nutmeg, I'm only going to do a teaspoon. Nutmeg. And this one is called mixed spice. Love mixed spice. I'm probably going to do 2 of this. 2 teaspoons. And like I said, you don't want anything in your cake that is going to overpower it. And this mixture is actually a 2-pound mix, okay? It's a 2-pound mix. And I only use like cups of flour, like 3 cups of flour to a pound, right? So 3 cups of flour would be, if I'm doing a 2-pound mix, like that would be like 1 pound remove, you know, like take some out of that. So we've gone in with the dry ingredients. We had the baking powder, we had the salt, we had the cinnamon, we had nutmeg, and we have mixed spice. It's mixed spice, not all spice. This one is called mixed spice. So make sure if you go out, that's the one you get. Now, I normally would have done that over the sieve. For some reason, I had forgotten. But guess what? We're going to mix that in. This is your dry ingredients. Mix it in. It's done just the way you would make a fruit cake. Same way you would make a fruit cake. This is how you do this. You make sure you get everything together. Alright, so I put that there for a second. And here I'll come back with my my mixer. My mixing my eggs. Okay, so gotta figure out how to release this thing. And then there we go. Ooh. Oh, don't be dripping. Sorry. Just a little dab that got on my floor. That's fine. Normally I would do this and just let it run for half an hour as long as I can. Because the more I run it, the tighter the egg and the lamb juice will get. Okay. I do have some cooking gloves, but if you're wondering why I'm not wearing the gloves, I do have some cooking gloves, but they tend to anger me quite a bit. Alright, so here we have the eggs and which is a bit soft, but that's okay. I don't want to turn it because I don't want to turn it over. It's okay. So here we're going to go in with our flour. But before, let me chop this up. And this is not a blender, it's a food processor. So it's okay. So let me go in with some of this. We're gonna cut and fold this in. You know, you hear about cut and fold? Because you want to make sure you don't have lumps in it. This is not a light cake, so you're not really mixing with a mixer. And this is pretty quick and easy. You just want to make sure you don't overpower your cake with some stuff. So and like I said, this is Welch's grape juice, not rum, not wine. Something I just remember is this. This is the I'll just use a knife. And I'll just put some of this into, and this is marmalade, orange marmalade, and I use this because I did not use any grated orange rind. Normally I would grate some orange rind. I don't have that, so I think there's somebody saying something. I'm coming. I'll get some of this marmalade. So I put some marmalade into that. All right, let me see what's been said on here. Good night, Rosie. Good night, Rose. Hi, Sue. How are you? Sue Townsend. What are you baking tonight, Miss CJ? Oh, I'm baking the fruit cake with Welch's grape juice. So for the persons who don't take the church that my church, they don't do rum and they don't do alcohol. So, but I am Jamaican and that's how we bake our cake, right? We normally bake the cake with rum and wine. So I don't sell my cake to my church because I know the policy, but I do bake. They don't stop me from baking because I bake my cakes and I sell them. But this cake is for my church. But we don't do alcohol. You think I'm breaking the rules? I'm not breaking the rules. It's just that this is something I've done for years and this is how I do it. So, you know. And I know it's not everyone that don't use alcohol. I mean, once you bake the cake too, the alcohol can dissolve, you know. But some people, they just put back alcohol in there. So everything in moderation, right? Everything in moderation. And this cake is going to come out just like the cake that you use the rum and the wine to bake. So it's the same thing, the same process. The difference is it's fruit juice instead of rum or wine. And this is where your hands get very tired. This is where I'm going to go into my fruits as well. And I'm going to add. Now, I'm just going to pour maybe 2 tablespoons. Not too much. And this is out of Jamaica. This is called rose almond. Rose, this is named after you. This is good stuff right here. Oh, when you use this in your porridge, or that's like a tablespoon and a half, you use, ooh, that smells so good. This thing, ooh, I tell you, I don't know if you all know this. If you're from Jamaica, you would know this. Let me see who is from Jamaica here. Who is from Jamaica here? Moderation is key, yes. Yeah, moderation is key. If you're from Jamaica, you probably know this. This in your bacon, in your whatever you're doing, try this. Mostly in Jamaica, this is sold in the marketplace, in a jug store, stuff like that. I'll just put a dab of this. Is almond. But these things are very strong and you don't want them to overpower your cake, right? But a little, you know. And this one is mixed essence. So though it's a lot of different stuff, just a little of each, you know, bring your cake to a good taste. I've got to get this back in here. Because without this, that thing won't work either. Gotta get all the flour out. You want to make sure when your cake is baked, you don't see lumps in it. So it's a fold and cut. I find when I knock the side of the pan with the spoon, the bubbles go away, right? Because the cake get very bubbly. You're not careful. When I do this, it helps to take the bubbles out. You're not doing a sponge cake, so... And this is where after this we add the fruits. Right here, I like to add a lot of fruits. But I realized for this, I did not do a whole lot, because then I would remove some flour, add some fruit. But for this cake, it's a little lighter than the very heavy fruit cake that I normally make. It's gonna be a little lighter. And I also do this in case there's some flour lumps in it. All right, so I do that last meringue, and I'll take this off. And then this is the oil, so I'm gonna pour that in. It's like 3 pounds of fruits right there. Sorry, not 3, 2 pounds of fruits right there. So. And like I said, this is not alcohol. And this can last for a while too, but not as long. You know, the ones that you use the alcohol in will last up to a year. You just keep pouring a little wine over it or a little white rum every now and then. Can last for a very long time. This one, not so much, because it does not have that rum or the wine to preserve it, right? Because the rum and the wine works as a preservative, right? Okay. And this is where I'm going to pour some molasses in here. This is called Blue Mountain molasses. This is about a tablespoon in here right now. I love the smell of molasses. You know, burnt sugar and molasses. Yeah. I'm gonna go in with a little more. Just a little, not a lot. So in that, you probably have like 3 tablespoons of molasses. Now, if I was baking my very large batch of cake, like I normally bake, I'm baking tomorrow. I don't know if I'll be live, because that video is already here, where I do the whole big thing, because I have a lot of cakes to bake for the holidays. So I'll be baking tomorrow. Then I would use that whole thing and maybe another half a bottle. All right, this is burnt sugar. Burnt sugar is like browning, but okay. I am from Jamaica. Yes, I have a bottle of that almond rose extra in my... Yes, isn't the best thing ever, right? And this is... I use this to bake with. Blue Mountain Country burnt sugar. It does not get bitter. And I also use the molasses from the same company. These are the 2 things I use in my baking. The burnt sugar is the best. The rose almond. Now this is where you go in and you get everything together. One thing, I forgot to get some lime rind. I normally would use some lime rind. And for my cake, I normally would have like applesauce and these things. But this is like a simple cake right now. I'm just going to get a little lime rind into that. Normally we do this on a plate, okay? You want to do this on a plate, but I just need a little right now. You're not trying to get the white part, you just want to get the green part of it. I know, I do things a little different because even though I should be teaching a class, if somebody's watching who didn't know how to do it, I think I'm showing the wrong way, but you just put this on a plate and you'll grate this into the plate instead of doing what I'm doing here. But I just needed a little of that, okay? So now I go in and I get my cake together. If it's too light, you could always put some more burnt sugar in it, but you gotta be careful because you might think it's not brown enough, and when it comes out very dark. So you gotta make sure you mix it first to see the color. Yeah, I do need a little more burnt sugar. Some persons like their cake light on the lighter side, like, you know, when they're eating, they want the cake to look light. Some like it. I like my cake dark. Just like us Jamaican, when we're cooking, we like our meat dark. We don't like no meat with too light. You gotta get some browning in there. See? So then I gotta make sure the brownies is all mixed in. The burnt sugar, otherwise it will come out looking like a marble slice. You don't want it looking like a marble slice, so you want to make sure you get all that burnt sugar in there. And my oven is on. It's on 325. And it's on 325 and there's water in it. So we might think that this is too light, but you'll see tomorrow when it's baked how dark it's gonna be. All right, and that's about that. I do believe I got everything I wanted to put in there. I do believe I got everything in it. So now, all right, so this is what it looks like. Okay, like I said, it's gonna be a little lighter. When I bake the cake for sale, it would be way thicker because it would have more fruits in it. Because I use a lot of fruits, and that's why I call my cake rich fruit cake, because I use a lot of fruits in there. It's gonna go into this pan, right? So what I do with this pan, I spray. These are very thick pan out of Costco. See that? Now I want to get a little flour. Give me a second. I just kind of dab it with a little flour. That's my non-stick pan, okay? So here, I'll put it right here. like I said, this cake could actually do with some more fruits. I have a lot of fruits here, but I cannot put any more in this because it's soaked in wine and rum. I cannot put it in this. But what did I use? And it's right here, you know, but because it's red, the thing is red, so I can never find it. But anyways, I'll pour that in. And I'm gonna let this stay in the oven for at least an hour and a half and slow bake. I turned the oven on like an hour ago. Hold on, I need my spatula. Okay, it was in the thing that I used to blend the fruits. The hard part of baking is cleaning up my kitchen after I'm done. But what I do, I normally just run hot water, get soapy water and run hot water. These things, they come out so easily. So when you're making a fruit cake, if you want it thick and like really heavy, just use more fruits. A lot of time people think it's flour. You don't need to bake with a lot of flour when you're doing your fruit cake. I love my board. You don't need to use a lot of flour. You use your fruits to bake your cake. It's not a flour cake, it's a fruit cake. And I'm sorry I can't take you with me, but I'm going to put this in the oven. I got to open the oven. Alright, see that? This is what it looks like. It won't be too dark. Hold on, I'm coming back. Oh. Alright, bake. I'm still here. I am still here. So yeah. There we go, and there we have it. So that's gonna be in the oven for like an hour and a half at 300. Good night. I am a Jamaican trying to do a little baking for my family during the holidays. Do you have a standard recipe? That's not recipe. REGICIDE, but I guess you were using recipe. I was saying recipe, but it turned to regicide. I know. Yes, there you go. There you go. I know. Sometimes I talk into my phone. You know, we're Jamaican. Sometimes we're talking, and if you're talking to the phone to write something totally different. But yeah. All right. How I do my rich fruit cake? Let me show you. Let me show you my rich fruit cake. Oh, I can take this off now. I can take that off and let me get a knife. Okay. So I have been eating this cake, which I should stop it. I should definitely stop doing that. I've already gone through a smaller one. So I eat some and I sell some, okay? For rich fruit cake, this is one of my rich fruit cake. What I do when I'm baking, if I'm using, say I'm doing a 1 pound mix, like this one that I just did would have been a 2 pound mix. I would use like 5 pounds of fruits. In this mix that I just put in, I do like 5 to 6 pounds of fruit. Had I put more fruit in that cake just now, it would be a thicker mix. It would be a thicker mix. And when it comes out, it would come out a little like this. Let me show you. You can see. Oh, can see? Let me show you. I'll cut here. You see? You see that cut? Look at that cut. Show you something. It comes out like, you see that? It's like when you're back home and you remember how they used to do that wedding cake, that when you go to wedding, they would have that rich wedding cake. This is what this tastes like. It's a little light. I don't, you see? I need to stop it. But these taste so good. So when you want to do the rich fruit cake, you always double up on your fruits. You can't go wrong with your fruits in your cake because it's a fruit cake. And that's what missing from a lot of cakes. So when I bake my 1 pound cake, this should be a 1 pound cake, right? This should be, this one did get burned. So that's why I'd actually cut this one. But this would be a 1 pound cake. But when this is baked, because of the amount of fruit in it, it's like 1.5 pounds. You know what I mean? Because the fruit is what makes it heavy. So like I said, instead of using, you know, we normally bake, we say 1 pound sugar, 1 pound flour, 1 pound butter. If I use 1 pound butter, 1 pound sugar, I use 3/4 pounds. Or oh, you do the math with 1/3 and all of them, something there. But I remove like 1/4 pound of the flour. I don't put a whole pound of flour in my cake. And then when I come in, if it's 1 pound flour, 1 pound, if it's 1 pound sugar, 1 pound butter, and 3/4 pounds of flour, I'm coming in with 2 pounds of fruits. Yeah, it's more like that pudding. But you remember, if you're Jamaican, I don't know if you remember, they would steam their fruit cake to call it the Christmas pudding. It would do the same mix as the cake, but it would be steamed. They would cover the pot or the pan, and they would steam it in some water, and it would come out something more like this. Now for this one, I can either do it this way, or I could do it at a lighter way. When I'm done baking, I would not pour any alcohol on it. To keep it a little drier than this, that is what you have to remove. This one, the wine and the rum was poured on it. And it depends on how you cover it. Your covering also helps to keep your cake moist. If you leave your cake, if you're just done baking, you leave your cake open. When you cut that cake, it comes dry. When you cover your cake, you leave it for a few days. The sugar, what makes it get like moist and all of that, the sugar start melting in it. And it's your sugar, because this is like asking me to eat another piece. I'm sorry. Yeah, so the sugar in your cake is what helps it to sweat. That sweat helps your cake to be moist. So don't worry when you just take your cake out the oven. One other thing, when you just take your cake out the oven, you know, you cut a hot cake, it's very soft. But as it get cold, it get hard, right? If you leave it unopened, what you do when your cake is cooling, use some paper towel, use something breathable to cover your cake. Don't use anything that will sweat. Don't put a plastic over your cake when it's hot. If it's nighttime, like when I bake and I'm leaving my cake, I cover it with paper towel. By the morning, it's cool. By the time it's cool, when it's cool, very cold, get very cool, then you can cover it. If you want to put some wine, if you just want to spray, you can spray a little on it. You can pour some on it. We tend to pour, right? So you pour on it and you leave it. It stays there and it sweats. By the way, if you have not subscribed, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much. I just realized I'm at 2,030 something subscribers. Thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing. Yeah, so I was saying, once you cover your cake, there is some pans. I'm going to show you something again. I'll be right back again. I'm gonna have to drink some water, you all. I'm gonna have to drink some water. I bake in these pans for sure. Oh, this one is sealed. Sorry. I bake in these pans for shipping. Right? These pans, look at this. They sweat. And it wasn't closed because it's sealed. This is what you do. You use you can also use what they call the parchment paper, wax paper. Because what I'm gonna do later on is turn this out, wrap it in a wax paper, and put it back in this pan. You seal this. This can stay up to a year. Never go bad, never spoil. So, and I bake in these too for shipping because it's a little sturdier than the foil pan. The foil pan, when it go through the post and all of that, they throw them around. So this, I bake to ship in, right? This is supposed to be a 2-pound cake. This is like a 3-pound cake. This is like a 3-pound cake, right? So, yeah. So those are some of the little tips and to keep your cake moist, to have it rich fruit like that one that I just did. And I can bake and it come like different ways. You can also have it chunky. One other thing, you don't want to puree your fruit. If you puree your fruit, you kind of get a tight gummy kind of cake. You don't want to puree your fruit, but you want to chop it enough that, because you have some people don't like to taste the chunks of the pieces of the fruits. You have some people don't like that. You have persons who do. I like it, not the whole fruit, but having like, you know, bits and pieces in there. And okay. All right, so this, right? You see this? I don't know, this feels like it weighs maybe 20 pounds, like a 20-pound bag of rice. This is fruits, right? When I bake tomorrow, this is gonna go into how much mix is that? Like a 5-pound mix? Like a 5-pound mix. It's on a stand right here, so yeah, that was heavy. So I use a lot of fruits. And you have some, I buy raisins, and I buy prunes and raisins and mixed peel. Your cake, try to have mixed peel in your cake, but make sure it's blend, right? Because the mixed peel can leave some bits and pieces in your cake. Sometimes what I do, I soak my mixed peel different from the fruits. Why I do that, I put some of the burnt sugar. I put some of the burnt sugar in the wine or the rum when I'm soaking the mixed peel. Why? Because the mixed peel tend to keep its color. You know what I mean? Like if you have the mixed peel in your cake and you cut it, you might see the color and you're wondering if it's flour or what. The mixed peel can do that to your cake. So what I do, I soak my mixed peel. When I'm soaking my mixed peel, I soak them separately from my fruits. Not all the time, but I do that sometime, and I find that makes it, when you blend it, it changes the color. Other than having, because you know mixed peel is mostly fruit peels. It's like orange peel, and they just put it in different coloring and stuff like that. So when it cuts, it still has the color in the middle. So I soak it in the browning or the burnt sugar, whatever it is. I put that in the thing that I'm soaking it in, so it gets darker. just like the other fruits. So when you blend it, it does not leave it looking white in your cake. Also, one other thing, mixed peel is one of the, I think mixed peel and fruit cake go together like fried fish and festival. You know what I mean? Mixed peel and fruit cake. Fruit cake with orange rind and like lemon juice and lemon rind, it gives your fruit cake a different kind of a flavor. You can't be having a fruit cake and not having mixed peel in it or some orange with Jamaican rind in it, because that, like, you don't get the same flavor from your fruit cake. It's just like ackee and saltfish. If you're doing ackee and saltfish and don't have some black pepper, that's what, not ackee and saltfish, right? So these are just some tips on when we're doing our fruit cake. For some reason, I never went to a school to learn how to bake. I just started baking way back when. Even when I lived in Jamaica, I would bake and I would sell. Even when my cake would fall apart, the flavor would be good, but there were times it was so crummy and all over the place. But I would still sell and people would still buy it. And over the years, I've learned that, because in that time when you're in Jamaica, fruits are so expensive that when you're making a fruit cake, you use a lot of flour. So you use 5 pounds of flour and a pound of fruits, because what? Fruits are so expensive and you don't have the money to buy it. And then when you bake your cake, it's more flour. You find that it's more flour. You put all the flavors in there, the vanilla, the this and the that. You have all the flavors together. But what was missing was the fruit. And I never knew that until like long after. And I've started baking probably about 7-8 years ago. And every year I bake for Christmas and I sell my cakes, right? And over the time I've gotten better. Yeah, my cake has gotten better. I've eaten so much of my cake, only God knows. But I need to stop. I keep telling myself to stop, but I still do it. But yeah, so over the years, I've seen what changes in cakes, you know. They would say don't beat it, don't mix it for too long. You can't over mix your cake. Never use a mixer. I never use a mixer mix my cake, because that's like making a light cake. That will make your cake light. If you're trying to have a heavy cake, you don't want to be using a mixer to beat your cake. One of the things too that I do, when I'm doing a big batch of cake, I don't mix my eggs with the sugar and the butter batter, right? I mix my eggs with lime juice. I let it sit on that same stand I just used in one of those pans, and it runs for like anywhere between 30 minutes or so. I just let it stay there, because the lemon and the lime juice and the egg, you know, you normally say you use the lime juice and the egg. The egg tend to help the lime juice tend to help the egg to firm. So to keep if you want a firm cake where your cake is not crumbing all over the place and stuff, beat your eggs with lime juice. Let it stay there, whether or not it's frothing or whatever, it's fine. Just let it beat for a while. And that helps to firm your cake and keep it more together. So when you cut it, is not just like, you know, you have some cake when you cut it's like muddy and it's just falling apart. The lime juice and the egg help to keep your cake together. And that's how I do my my mix. I don't, just like how I just did this one just now, because I'm doing a small, just that one cake. But if I was doing my regular big batch of cake, I mix the egg and the lime juice together, not with the butter and the sugar. What else can I say about any question? Me, miss. When you're in class and teacher asks a question or have a question, You put your hand up and you ask. Please like, share, and subscribe. I want to see one like, and I have 5 of you on here, 5 friends. Come on, touch that like, that thumbs up, please. I don't know if it's a thumbs down or a thumbs up. If I've said something off, you can to let me know. Yeah, but that's it. And you can watch my video, my very first video that I did a very large batch of cake. That was 3 years ago. I actually thought it was 2 years, but it was 3 years ago. That was my very first video where I was nervous to do that video. I wasn't live, and I did the video. Even I listen to it sometime, and even my voice sounds different. Even my voice sounds. Thank you, Rose. Thank you. Yeah, even my voice sounds different. But that video every year, like it gets the most views when it gets around this time. That's the very first video I did baking, and right now that video is at 80 something thousand views. My page is monetized, but I cannot get paid from that particular video because there's a tune in it. We didn't understand how to do video. My assistant, I have somebody, she lives in Jamaica, Chanel. Her name is Chanel. She's the one who does my pages, my business, everything. My little assistant, and she's very good at what she does. We did not know we could not use some tune in the background, so that music that's playing in the background, we are copyrighted for it. But I didn't take the video down. I'm like, let it stay, so a lot of persons watch it. So you are saying not to add the eggs to the sugar and the butter. I don't. You have persons who do, and their cake turn out very well, but I don't, especially in my larger batch of baking. I don't. And even in the small batch, if you have the time, you can do that too, if you prefer it. If you want that firmer cake, you know what I mean? If you want a firmer cake, you mix the butter, the eggs, and the lime juice together. Just whip them together. It's like, you remember when you made icing back in the day? Was it royal icing, I think? That you whip the egg white in the white sugar, the icing sugar, and it becomes thick and, you know, and fluffy. That is something that kind of takes place when you do the egg and the lime juice together. I think it's royal icing. You whip the sugar and the egg white, and it becomes stiff. That is what kind of take place. But because it's not just the egg white and the lime juice you're beating here, I hope I'm saying the right thing, Jesus. The royal icing is made with egg white and lime juice, right? Makes it firm. It's the same thing, but because the yolk is still in the egg, it's not as firm. You know what I mean? But you do get that fermentation going on there. Where can I get the burnt sugar? They're in supermarket. I don't know where you are. If you're in New Jersey, I know it's in ShopRite. I got in ShopRite. There's Joe's Market that has it. Tropical Sun has it. Sorry, let me just drink a little water. So the burnt sugar, and like I said, it's called Blue Mountain. Let me see where this would you'd find this in the baking aisle. Anywhere they're selling the baking stuff, like the vanilla and those stuff, you know, you'll find them. Molasses, burnt sugar. It says Blue Mountain Country. I don't know if Amazon has it, because Amazon sells everything. So maybe you can even get it on Amazon. I don't know. Yeah, you're welcome, Janelle. You're what? Janelle Porter. You're welcome. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. I'm still waiting for the thumbs up. Come on, guys. Give me some thumbs up here. Yeah. And so last night I did some festival. If you're Jamaican, you know what festival are. Our festival is. And I did a video. I don't know if you saw that. I was live frying festival. I have quite a few videos on here where I do some different cooking. I want to start baking and coming live like this, you all. I have a bake book. I'm not good with listen, I have everything in my kitchen. And I have a big stand right here. It has like everything on it. So I have a book called Baking Bible. No, this is not Jamaican stuff. But I'm thinking I might start. You see, I don't even know what that is. But I might start trying some of these things, you know. This one is called Polished Princess. I don't even know what that is. But I want to start doing some of these things and just coming on here. Let me know if that's something that you would be watching. This is Mango Bango. This would be one of the first thing I would make. Mango Bango. I love mangoes. This is what it's called. Mango Bango Cheesecake. So that's a cheesecake what is made from mango. So I want to start using this book. So this is what it says, Baking Bible. I gave this to my daughter some years ago. But she never used it. It says to Racing from Mommy, Merry Christmas. 2017, I gave her for a Christmas gift. Look at that. I didn't even realize. I thought it was like for birthday or something. But yeah. Can't replace the Bible of God, but hope it helps you with your baking. Oh, that's what I said to my daughter. I doubt if she ever used it because it ended up back in my house. So I want to start baking with this. And a lot of people want to, so at what point I add the eggs. I am going to be making a big batch and want it to be like put a year. Was planning on adding breadcrumb. Okay. I don't have breadcrumb to mine, which is fine. Because I find that, I don't know. I feel like breadcrumb does leave you with those little white spots, but it's just me. I'm just, you know, I'm not discouraging you. Use your breadcrumb if you have to. But where you had your eggs, once I beat my eggs together in the whatever it's beaten in, right, I add it to my big pan. I have some huge pans that I bake in. So I put the eggs in that and the butter and sugar, and then I give it maybe a quick whip together. After they've done their separate time by themselves, the sugar and the butter, the egg and the lime juice, then when they're all ready, I now put them in one big container and get them together, mix them together. Still going with my hand mixer and get it together. At that point, then I start adding my flour. Right? Once my flour is mixed in and mixed in well, then I go in with my fruits, right? And once my fruit is in, then I start adding my little, you know, sweetener here and there, my little spices, liquid spices, right? Here and there. Or else I'd had my liquid spices to the fruits. I have a big bucket that I normally, once I blend the fruit, I keep them in my bucket. And this is my bucket. This is also my fruit bucket. See, that's blended fruit. So once I take them from that, I will chop them, blend them, whatever, put them in this, and I'll get it up here for a 5 pound, mix, for one of my big mixes. So this is my my bucket, right? So yeah, let school begin. I wish I could have gotten the this thing to turn sideways. I couldn't get it to sideways. Get it now, thanks. You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, once you do that, then you just, you know. But then because one other thing too, especially when you're making a big batch, you see how it gets really liquidy. You have to know what you're doing at that point, because things can get away from you. Things can get away from you. But breadcrumb, we normally do breadcrumb. What too? If you're gonna do the breadcrumb, You see how I use the sieve? Oh, I needed to cover back my cake. Let me show you something. Oh, I still have my sieve on my floor. You see, if you're gonna use the breadcrumb, put it in your, what's this called again? A sieve. And do your breadcrumb over your flour. You see how I sift the flour? Sift the flour. Put your breadcrumb in this. Use your hands. Get your breadcrumb really fine. You understand? Get your breadcrumb really fine. So when it goes through the sieve, it has no, like, even if there's big piece in there that will be leaving in your cake, leaving that white spot in your cake, it won't be there because you have gone through the sieve with it. And it's the same thing with salt. And even just now, I normally would pour the powder spices in here, you know, but tonight I was, you know, I forgot. But I normally put everything through the sieve once it's powdery. Understand? So you don't get all clumps and stuff in your cake. So just remember to do that. If you're putting breadcrumbs, I've baked before and used crackers. I just smashed the crackers, but I run it through my sieve so I don't get big chunks pieces in there that will leave white in my cake. And you know, for your cake, you can use little stuff. I use applesauce. I use a marmalade. I use strawberry preserve. You know, you can add these little things to it too. But if you're gonna add some of these things, remove some of the sugar. Remove some of the sugar, because even the fruits, like when I use this large amount of fruits, I remove a little sugar because it can get very sweet. The preserves are sweet. The applesauce is sweet. The fruits are very sweet, and especially like I use make the rich heavy fruit cake, I remove some of the sugar. All right, so is there any more question? Or if not, I got church tomorrow, and oh God, I have some centerpieces to make. I don't know if you know, but I also, if you look on my page, you will see I also decorate. I'm a decorator. I'm just gonna switch. How do I switch my camera? And you'll see something that I made. That's my one of my creation. It's on my back door, and I do ballooning, and so these are some of my creations. So I got to make some centerpieces. It's, oh God, it's 10 o'clock. I gotta go, you all. But I want to say thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. I got to go put some centerpieces together because we're having some function at church tomorrow, and hence I'm baking this cake. I have some plum sauce I'm going to try. Yeah. Don't put too much though. You don't want to overpower your stuff. Just blend it up. When you're blending your fruits, put it with your fruits. Put it with your fruits and put it in your cake, you know. The only reason I don't try guava, because guava, you know what is guava? Yeah, if you're Jamaican, you know guava. And you have a lot of guava jelly. You have grape jelly, guava jelly. Like this one I just made, I probably would have put some grape jelly in it because it's grape juice. And when this is baked, when it's done baking and hot out the oven, I'm going to pour some of the grape juice on it just to keep it soft and moist. Slow down the baking process so it does not dry out. That's one other thing. If you're going to put rum and wine and stuff on your cake, put it on it as soon as you take it out the oven. That's the time you put your wine and your rum on your cake. And then it seeps into your cake. And when it's cool, you cover your cake with, whether or not you want to use a plastic wrap, but make sure it's cool. And then you cover your cake. Always seal your cake properly. Once it's sealed, it becomes moist. It does not get dry out. If you leave your cake not covered properly, it will get dry out. That is after it's cool. Never cover a hot cake. And sometimes you might feel the outside of the pan and you think it's cool. The inner part is still hot. So just make sure the whole thing, give it a day. Just cover it with some paper towel and stuff and let it cool down before you cover it, because it will go bad. Even though these cakes take a long time to go bad, it will go bad because it was covered hot. So always do that. If you're gonna put rum and wine on it, dab it. If you know what dab mean, dab. Jamaicans say dab. Pour a lot on it. That's what dab mean. Looking good. Bless you. Have a great day at church. Yeah, thank you so much. You too. Have a blessed day tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow is pastor's our bishop's appreciation, and so, you know, we're having a little something happening. Yeah, so like I said, pour your wine on your rum on your cake. As you take it out the oven, it stops the baking process, because, you know, never leave your cake on top of the oven, never on top of the stove, because the heat still coming up from the oven dries out your cake. Never leave your cake in the oven. If you turn it off, take the cake out. It will stay there and dry out your cake, because the heat is still on. Just like a lot of stuff you're cooking and you're done cooking, but you leave it in the hot water and stuff like that. Like say broccoli. I ate broccoli when it's overcooked because it gets dark. Slow down the process of cooking by pouring cold. If it's even ice water, give it that blanch and bouncy, chewy flavor. Yeah, so we're talking about cake, not veggies, right? So when you take your cake out the oven, remove it from the stove. No stove top, no oven. Remove it. Pour your rum and your wine over it. Slow down the process so it does not dry out, and it seeps in that liquid and stay there. And you, when it's cool, you cover it. Comes right back moist, nice cake. All right, so I'm gonna go. Thank you for the thumbs up, you all. Please like, share, and subscribe, and set the notification for when I come back. I think I'm gonna come back some of the time and do some stuff that I know nothing about, and just see, like I showed you my baking Bible, and just see if I can learn some stuff, and you and I can learn together. All right, I gotta go because I gotta go do something. All right, you be blessed. Have a blessed and a wonderful night. And if I don't see you again, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year when it comes, as we say in Jamaica. Bye, everyone. Thank you again. Bye-bye.